every day that's showing up for me, because each and every day is a gift. And that's exactly what I felt like sharing tonight, so thank you. So now I get to sit back and take in Kim, Stanwood Terranova. You gonna come on up? Yeah, so let me introduce, most of you know her very, very well. I don't know what to say other than head of practitioners at Agape, gives an incredible message, stunning to look at. What else? 2 beautiful children, one away at college, one graduating high school soon.
Senior year this year.
Yeah, we're all moving on. Lots of my friends have tears in their eyes today because it was the first day of school for a lot of them, and some of them the senior year, and knowing that after that. Okay, so please give a really warm welcome to Kim.
Yes, thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Hello, all these faces. I haven't seen some in a while. This is great. Okay, so everything Sandra was just talking about was what I'm talking about. Don't you love that? She was giving you the perfect example of trusting the journey. So thank you. You led right into my talk. And before we start, I have a little video clip I want to show real quick. And can we start that right away? Okay, good. So welcome, everyone. I thank you for being here. And I want you to just sit back and watch this for a minute because it leads right into what I want to talk to you about.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, "Wait." If you've never failed, you've never lived.
Who needs to see that one more time? One more time, Jose, please. It's just so good. Now catch everything they're saying before the person.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, "Wasting her time. She's too shy to put her best foot forward." Turned down by the Decca recording company, who said, "We don't like their sound, and guitar music is on the way out." A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent. At 38 years old, he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died, he failed in business twice, he had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never lived.
How many of you knew all that? That's pretty good. There's a couple of you who knew all that. That was a lot of great information in a short little span of time. And what do you catch when you realize these are individuals that all of us have been knowing, sensing, hearing about for most of our lives and thinking, yeah, they got this. They got this. But each and every one of them had a journey that was very intense, clearly. Michael Jordan in his room because he was told he wasn't very good at, what was the words that, who said about Michael Jordan? What'd they say?
He was crying in his room.
But he was cut from the team, in his room crying. Abraham Lincoln, we've read that, we've heard, but the depths of what these individuals, and these are just some. There's all of you sitting in this room that are these same individuals, different names, have your own life, that have a journey that is intense and beautiful and wild and glorious, and it's just about how do we trust it Because I wonder if any of them, when they were sitting there, when Michael Jordan was in his room, when the Beatles were told, yeah, your music isn't happening. I wonder how many of them in that moment knew, oh no, we're good. We're still going to be a massive success. There's an arc of healing that leads us through our journey if we have the energy, the strength, the wisdom, the faith, the courage to move through it, but we must be willing. Each of these individuals was willing to stand in the face of a circumstance and be bigger than it. And that's what we get to do. To trust our journey in life, we must be willing to be bigger than any circumstance. Because life is going to bring circumstances where we're either told we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not old enough, we're not young enough, whatever it is that may push us to a position of thinking for a moment we're going to believe them. But we have the power in our choice in every moment to choose, am I going to catch that and believe that, or am I going to really know who I am? So tonight is all about us moving through our journeys in life because we all have them. So I have a question for you. How many of you have been to amusement parks? Everyone raise their hand if you've been to an amusement park. Almost everyone. How many of you have been on a roller coaster ride? How many of you liked the roller coaster ride? That's pretty darn good. Now, when you got on that roller coaster ride, did you know the person that was pushing the button that said go? Did you know the person who built the track? Did you have any idea of the people in front of you or behind you and that they were going to keep you safe? You guys could tell me. I could hear you. Did you have any idea of the operator that handled it on the track and if it was smooth and anybody cleaned that track or if it was safe to get you all the way around and back? Did you know the answer to that? No, I did not get on Space Mountain. And no, when I was entering Space Mountain, oh, I know where I'm going to land. I know what turns I'm going to take. I feel safe, secure. I know all is well. I didn't know that. Lila wishes I did because she was not happy with me at the end of Space Mountain. But usually I was in total joy. But the thing is, we get on board and we trust in something we know nothing of. And yet in life, if we step out of our comfort zone to really take a massive risk in our life, in business, in relationship, we pull back because we think, but I don't know how. I don't know how to do this. So it's interesting to me when I think about it, like, wow, that is really trippy. That we will get on rides. Indiana Jones is the best. I just got on that one like a month ago and forget about it. I am so dialed into that ride. It was worth it. It was worth standing in line. All these years I was like, when am I going to get on Indiana Jones? It was flawlessly great. The point is, we stand and get on rides like that, and we absolutely trust every bit of it that we're going to put our hands in the air, come all the way back around, screaming with delight, and land and go, that was great. That was great. I want to do this again. Yet if somebody looks at you and says, you know that business you've been wanting to start for 10 years? You know what? I think you should do it right about now. You may go, oh, no, whoa, I don't know how to do that. Oh, no, can't do that. I find that so interesting. We will trust everything else. So you get to look at tonight, where can I stretch in my trust so I begin to trust my journey, God bless you, that I'm upon. Because if you start to cultivating the qualities to trust your journey, their life is going to just continue to explode and get larger and grander because you're cultivating trust. And trust is an interesting thing. Trust is this wonderful, magnificent thing that we get to absolutely stand in and build by our own inner choices. This morning I was teaching a group and it was all about the 4 agreements, and there's a piece of it where Miguel Ruiz says, if you could only trust yourself, if you could cultivate trust in yourself more than the outside world, I interpreted that as just think what would be possible. If we each cultivated trust within ourselves, to trust our choices, which is our spiritual practice, because many of us could stand here right now and go, oh, I made some choices that I don't think were very good ones, Kim. I can't trust myself. How many of you think you made choices that weren't very good ones? Oh, and tonight, just so you know, thank you for being honest. Tonight I want you guys to talk to me. So if you think of a question, this is interactive this evening. Many of us can have that place of I made choices that I can't trust myself now. The stretch is how do we then practice the forgiveness to keep moving forward to rebuild trust, because that is our own inner job. Years ago when I was studying to be a practitioner, I was in the midst of a whole bunch of really intense things in life, as most of us are, and I was a student, and I was trying to do really good at this, and I wanted to get all this right, and I was coming out of class, and life had challenges, and Reverend Michael passed right by me, and he goes, "So how's it going, Kimberly?" And I looked at him, and I go, "Oh my God, this is crazy." I said, "The highs are really, really high, and the lows are so low. I feel like I'm on this roller coaster, and I'm slamming down into the ground when I think I'm doing well." And he didn't miss a beat, and he looked at me, and he goes, "Just keep your mouth shut when you're going downhill." And I looked at him like, "What, keep my mouth shut when I'm going downhill? Wait a minute, what are you talking about?" And then all of a sudden, as I just started to think about it, it resonated that, wait a minute, I don't need to complain and vent and say how it's horrible and my life isn't working when I'm going downhill. That is the moment I need to practice. That is the moment I need to courageously, absolutely cultivate faith. Because when I'm going downhill, if I'm talking the whole time about how bad it is, guess what else is created? More bad. More evidence shows up that isn't working. Instead of, if I'm open to, okay, I'm moving through this, it doesn't mean denying when we're going downhill. It means staying alert, but as we're going downhill, to have the wisdom to know I may be going downhill, but this is temporary because I'm going to cultivate faith the whole time and know I'm coming right back up. The roller coaster ride, we come right back up, right? I want you to think about this from now on. We don't just go down in the roller coaster ride forever. We always come back up, do a few flips. Total metaphor for life. Do a few flips, turn over, roll over, stand back up, and keep going. But we must have that willingness to know, okay, how can I today trust this journey? What is possible for me to trust the journey and cultivate all the keys to living so fully? So I want to talk to you about those 5 keys. And Jose, I know I have the, I'm feeling very powerful tonight. I've never had one of these. Do I push the red button? The slide ones, like this. Woohoo! That was great. I'm sorry. That was really fun. So I just keep pushing this button. It doesn't take much. I'm very easily pleased, and I'm really okay with that. The first one is courage and curiosity. If we do not have courage and curiosity, we cannot cultivate trust in our own journey. If we have courage and curiosity, we can seek out what it is that is possible for us. But we have to have the courage to do it. And courage is a beautiful thing when you really start to think about, wow, what is my intention to courageously move through this next section of my life, this next adventure in my life? What does courage represent to you? Somebody tell me. Bring it on. I'm ready. Confidence. What else? Starting. Beautiful. It takes courage to start something, doesn't it? Beautiful. What else? Risk. Yes. What else? Courage. Faith. Sorry? Faith. Yes. It takes courage just to speak up right now, right? Vision. Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. It takes strength. But courage is imperative for us when we are cultivating the field of trusting. If we don't have courage, we pull back. But there's this beautiful thing. We have a source, an unlimited power within us, God's Spirit, whatever you name it, that rises up inside of us that can absolutely bring us courage at any given moment. Any given moment. I want you to think of those moments in your life that were really intense and think if you just leaned into Spirit and you probably allowed something to move through you to give you the courage for the next step that you needed to take. Yes? Years ago, we had many courageous moments in our life, but there was a moment where my sweet, wonderful Lila was extremely courageous, and she was at the edge of her, I've always said at times, where's your growing edge? She was extremely courageous. It was one of those nights, I don't think I've told you this before, that I got a phone call. Have I told you guys this story? No. Okay, good. Just checking. Thank you for your honesty. Got this phone call. It was one of those nights on a Saturday night, and Sandra, you just said, so, this is what even reminded me of it when I was sitting there. When those Saturday nights, I'm home like, whew, so I'm home by myself tonight. I'm going to relax, chill out for a minute. And just as I started to chill out about 10 o'clock at night, the phone rings, which was, it makes me alert, like, what's going on? It's so late. The kids are where they're supposed to be. Lila's at her friend's house. Pick up the phone, and I hear blood-curdling screams. Screams that my whole body was, and they're my daughter. And as I heard them, I heard a woman say on the phone, Kim, Lila's been hurt, and do you have insurance at which hospital we're going to? And I'm like, excuse me, what? And the phone disconnects. And so as I'm trying to redial really fast, in my mind, I knew, for a split second, it was like, okay, go to prayer right now, and pack a bag. Clearly, I'm going somewhere. And she's going to need something. So as I'm pushing redial and get somebody back on, now by this time a fireman picks up the phone. And he says, are you this, Lila's mother? And I said, yes. And he said, she just fell through a plate glass window. And this is not good. And you need to get to a hospital right away. And I'm like, which hospital? He tells me the name. The next thing you know, I'm racing down the highway to a hospital I've never been to. Thank God for Siri. That's in those moments you're like, Siri, here's the name of the hospital. I need directions and I need them now. And thank goodness she was like, to someplace I hadn't been. To one of those run into the emergency rooms where I'm standing there. Now by this time it's probably 10:45 or whatever, and the lady says, hi, what's your name and could you have a seat? Just want you to imagine, could you have a seat? Well, no, I can't have a seat. I can't have a seat. I cannot sit down. My daughter's back there, and I could hear her right there, and I go, I could hear her. I'm going to go through this door right now. And she said, okay. And at that point, this wonderful nurse, this massive man, opened the door, and he looked at me, and I said, yes, and went running back there. I'm not going to describe to you what the whole visual is, because Lila would probably not have me do that. But I could tell you there was enough damage where the plate glass window had seared through her skin in many places that they couldn't keep bandages on fast enough. And at the time, my precious daughter was so courageous as she was sitting there holding her arms up, and they kept rapping and trying to solve things. But the whole time, she was staying in complete courageous space of, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be okay. And I can't remember her exact words, but she was moving through it with courage. Now, I'm telling you this because it's an example of we must trust the journey. In that moment, everyone showed up that needed to show up. The firemen were there, the perfect doctors were there, the hospital was available. I was able to get there on time, and she had the courage to know, this doesn't feel good, but I'm getting through this. And it took 4 hours before they had her completely stitched up. And she courageously kept going through it to the point that pretty soon that fabulous nurse that I still can see his face to this day had her laughing, would come in and say, okay, I'm going to give you a few more shots. And they were bantering back and forth, and I'm thinking, how is she doing this? My point is, she had to have enormous courage to move through every detail of that evening. I had to have courage to move through every detail of the evening. But the trust of the journey was, this too is going to be healed. There was a vision of, in the midst of this, everyone we need is going to come rushing forth, and they did. They did. There was other people that needed attention first, and we waited, and people came forth. But the point is, every step of the way, we had to have curiosity and courage. The curiosity to ask the questions. Does she need a different doctor? When does this have to happen? And the answers kept coming. But do you see, if we didn't have the courage to move through it, we would have been absolutely frozen. Is this making sense? So everywhere in our life, if we have courage and curiosity, we will ask the right questions. We will keep moving forward. We will not freeze in the moment of challenge. Do you get that part? This is an invitation to not freeze in the moment when the circumstances get intense, because they will. They just will at times. Our journey is to build a spiritual practice that keeps us so courageously on the edge of our transformation that at any moment, whatever comes towards us, we will have the ability to lean into our practice, listen to Spirit, and know what it is the next step to take. That is our practice. That is how we learn to cultivate trust in the journey. Does this make sense? But the curiosity part brings us to this whole other level of, when you're curious, things come rushing forward. When you're curious about life and you're inquisitive and you're looking for things in life, answers come forward. We live in a responsive universe. The universe will always answer when we are asking questions. This is why you've heard me say, ask very beautiful questions. Not why questions, but questions of, what is being revealed here? What do I need to know? What is the guidance in this moment? And you will hear the answer. So anywhere your curiosity still expands to what's possible, what's showing itself to me now. We have this opportunity that every challenge brings us to the edge of our growth. And I invite you to take the charge and grow and not stay stuck. Just to grow, because the universe supports you in every step of your growth. Any questions so far? You guys are still with me? Okay, good. Let me get my fabulous little clicker. Powerful faith. I want to read to you something from Ernest Holmes about faith. He says, "It is certain that you must fast from fear if you wish to establish faith. You must fast from confusion if you hope to enter into tranquility. It matters not if your transition from the negative into the affirmative seems slow, if the ascent from your valley of negation to the mountaintop of realization seems difficult. Each step will bring you nearer to the summit." I had a client the other day who said to me on the phone, I was talking to her, and she said, "You know what? My life is so full when I let go of fear. When I just let it go." Her life began to feel the happiness start bubbling over because she wasn't operating in fear anymore. If we cannot let it go, if we still are holding on to fearful places and it tends to stop you, I will tell you, just pick it up and take it with you. But I don't want you to be stopped by it. Fear can absolutely immobilize us if we allow it to, but you have this gift of strength within you that can rise up and move absolutely through it. But you must have that muscle built to know I'm moving straight through this. Each of these individuals that we just showed up here, each of them, I sensed had major fear in the situations they were in. They just explained them to us. Rejection was there, sadness was there, but they moved through the fear. They did not get stopped by the circumstances. That's the journey of trusting, the part of trusting our journey, right? So when we're living in our powerful faith, I want you to think about this for a moment. If you're living in faith and moving in faith, what does that mean? What does that mean? If you're living in powerful faith, to any of you? Yes. Yes. What else? Powerful faith. Sorry?
Allowing.
Yes, allowing.
You're connected.
Connected. Brilliant. Thank you. Connected to source energy. God, when you are living in powerful faith, there is a connection that is always happening in your life. It is so clear that that connection is always available, but you're allowing it. Just imagine if every day you woke up and your intention was to live in faith, to allow faith to lead the way, to cultivate that. You'd probably be staying in prayer a lot more. You'd set your intentions. You'd be having that ability to know, you know what? In this moment, I'm cultivating the faith within my life. It's something we do cultivate. I have a dear friend who said, "How come you have so much faith? You don't ask how, you just have the faith." And I said, because it was cultivated. It wasn't that I just stood up one day and went, "I have faith this is going to happen." We must cultivate that field of receptivity by applying it, come back and learning and standing in gratitude. Applying it, come back and learning and standing in acknowledgement that we just stay in faith even when we can't see it. How many of us have stood in faith when we could not see the result? A lot. Anyone who gets on that roller coaster ride is living in faith, because you have the faith that it's going to come back around. Whether you call it faith in the roller coaster ride or faith in spirit, somebody's got faith right there. So powerful faith will lead the way every time for you to absolutely begin to stand in your journey wherever you're at and know, I'm walking with spirit, I'm walking with God, and I'm moving through the center of this. I will not be stopped by it. And I want you to just think for a moment, what can I do each day to cultivate that faith in my life? Because that's where it really is important. What can you apply each day to cultivate faith? Can anyone tell me if you could apply more prayer every day to cultivate faith? Yes. Can anyone tell me if you could apply more spaces of gratitude, because you could see where absolutely your faith is working and you could cultivate more faith? Yes? Yes, I invite you to. I invite you to wake up tomorrow morning and know, you know what, this day, I'm allowing more faith to lead the way. This day, everywhere I see, I'm seeing where I'm connected to the source energy. It is everywhere present. It's when you walk out the door and touch your feet to the ground. You have faith that you're still going to be walking. You have faith you're going to wake up tomorrow morning. All of that gets to just grow into what else is possible for me to live a life of faith. Yes? Perfect. Hold on. Here I go again. I may need one of these pretty soon, Jose. This is pretty fancy. Gratitude and acknowledgement. I love gratitude and acknowledgement. I want you to turn to someone near you right now, and I want you to share one thing you are grateful for. Just turn to somebody in this moment, please. Share one thing you are grateful for. Brilliant. Here's your next assignment. Now I'm going to ask you to turn to the same person and tell them one thing you acknowledge yourself for. Here's the difference. Acknowledgement means that you get to look at yourself and claim, I know I did this really well, or I acknowledge myself for speaking the truth to someone today. I acknowledge myself that I did a great job on this project today, whatever it is. But one thing you know today you did really well. Please turn to somebody and tell them. I love how there's hesitation right about now. Did everyone do one? Brilliant. All right, by a show of hands. By a show of hands, who found it more difficult to acknowledge than be grateful? So darn interesting. Thank you for your honesty. It's so darn interesting that I just, to observe this together for all of us as for ourselves. We could stand and say, I'm so grateful for that. And then when I say, can you acknowledge yourself? It's like, ooh, wait a minute. I'm going to have to share with somebody where I did something really well? Yes. We don't have an issue doing this with our small children. We look right at them and go, oh my gosh, you were brilliant at that today. You did such a good job. And when it comes to ourselves, we kind of pull back.
I think we expect it from ourselves.
What you say, the key word, Sandra. Did you hear what Sandra said? She said, I think we expect it from ourselves. Expectation very often leads you to disappointment because there's an expectation means something has to occur for you to be fulfilled, which is where I'll ask you to set an intention instead of living an expectation. Because when you have an intention, my intention is to be kind to myself today, my intention is to be present to myself today, then you're not going to be disappointed because you're not living an expectation. But absolutely, acknowledgments can be one that I highly suggest that you begin an acknowledgement journal immediately. That it just literally, you open it up and on one side it says, today I acknowledge myself for, and you list a few things that you acknowledge yourself for, because I know clearly that all of you are here have more than one thing to acknowledge yourself for today. I know it. I can see it in your faces. You probably have a slew of things that if you were sitting with me, I'd go, oh, and how about this? And I just heard you say, there's sometimes I'm sitting with clients, and I'll look at them, and at the end of half an hour, they're like, oh my gosh, I so messed this up or that up. And I'll think, well, I just heard this, and 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 this, that you did really well. And they go, oh. We're so hard on ourselves. How can we cultivate trust in the journey if we're hard on ourselves? Like, it's imperative to have this journey and have it be one that you trust every step of the way. You must begin to allow gratitude and acknowledgement to lead the way. I'd love if you woke up every morning and thought, what can I acknowledge myself for today? I'm up, I'm moving, I'm doing what I need to do, whatever it is. It could be the smallest thing. It could be that you smiled at someone that the day before you had resentment about. Whatever it is, to just be present to acknowledging that you're on the path and you're doing the best you can. Because each day you do that, it will grow. Remember, wherever your attention is, energy comes to it. You focus your attention on everything that's working and acknowledgement, more energy comes to it. And then guess what happens? The universe backs you right up and brings you more good. And the other major key in gratitude and acknowledgement is you are building the field of receptivity to call forth more. See, when our mind is somewhere else and we're thinking of things we think we did wrong or aren't enough, We're not cultivating a field to accept more. When somebody looks at you and says, you were brilliant at that, I can't thank you enough for doing that for me. If we reject it and go, oh no, it was nothing. No, it was nothing. We just pushed away our good. How many of you do that? Honestly, how many of you do that? We do that because we don't even know. So I want to just absolutely, I'm going to give you a charge right now tonight that you catch yourself from this moment forward, that if you ever go to push back when somebody gives you an acknowledgement, that I ask that you just stand in it. Just stand in it and say thank you. I accept this. Thank you. Because when you do that, you are telling the universal field that you will accept more, that you're ready for more, that you're responsible for more. It's just like for years in prosperity classes, if you get a check in the mail, you say thank you, and you accept it, I accept this and so much more. When it comes to love, you must do the same. I accept this. And then the love within yourself begins to grow, so that trust again is multiplying. Is this making sense? Do you see how it all weaves together? A life of gratitude and acknowledgement, a life of being courageous and being curious. All of it leads us to, wow, I'm on this amazing journey in life. If I choose to look at it that way. Or if I choose to look at it like I'm having all these problems and this is difficult, you have choice. But when you look at it like I'm on this amazing adventure, this journey of life, and I'm cultivating trust so that each day I am willing to keep bringing on more, then everything keeps unfolding. And the good news is, when a challenge does come, you've got the tools to handle it. Today, in the midst of this I always love this. When I'm about to do a talk, always things appear in my life that are on the top. It happened, right, Reverend Maureen? That always happens. So sure enough, last night I got home, I didn't get home late, but I was going down to see the horses late, and one of my horses was hurt. He couldn't walk, he was lame, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this is late at night, I can't call a vet tonight, tomorrow morning I'll be gone first thing in the morning and coming straight here. So of course it was, okay, where am I going to trust the journey right now, because I can't be in all these places at once, and he's okay. So I did what I needed to do. I stood right there with him, said prayers for him in the dark, blessed him, knew what I could do, got up this morning, went back down, said more prayers for him, called the vet, and said, I need to still go where I'm called to be today, to know that I can be there and trust that the steps are handled here. Now, years ago, I probably would have panicked. I probably would have called, I can't come in today. There's no way I can come in today because I've got to stay course and I have to be right here. Because what if the vet doesn't know how to open the gate? And what if they don't know where the horse is? And what if they don't know which one it is? And I would have created a whole bunch of stuff. But in cultivating courage and curiosity and acknowledgement and gratitude and faith, I knew, wait a second, you know what? Spirit's got this. I could be in one place, handle it over here, and sure enough, thank goodness for technology, someone could call me and say, we're here, we're taking care of him, we know what's going on, we're putting stitches in this one, everybody's going to be okay. So the beautiful thing was, because of building the muscle, I could trust the journey and keep moving forward. It will happen every day. Tomorrow you will wake up and something will occur and you'll be like, oh boy, you have a choice to stand in it and think, react or take a breath. And choose, okay, if I'm cultivating faith, if I'm standing with a courageous spirit right now, what is the highest choice I can make right now? What is the choice that will empower myself and everyone in my life right now? Spirit is so unlimited that you can ask that question, get the answer, and then move into action of it. And you see how every piece then begins to fall together, and then when another bump happens, you do it again. Take a breath, say a prayer, listen, move forward. It's like a constant, beautiful cycle that we get to do. I have to read something to you that I have, some of you know, I'll say, always bring your journal, take notes. So I bring my journal everywhere. This is what Reverend Maureen gave to me. I found this the other day, and I was so grateful. You said that, I don't know if you remember. I love when that happens. In one sermon, Reverend Maureen said, it is not a question of God's ability. It is only based on our receptivity. I want you to hear that. It's not a question of God's ability. It's only based on our receptivity. So if we are not cultivating a field of receptivity, all the good in the world could come rushing to us and it could go right by. It could go right on by because we could not be cultivating the field to say, thank you, I accept this. Is this making sense? So everywhere you can, thank you and acknowledgement. Thank you and acknowledgement. Everyone agreed you're going to practice that? Great. I can't wait till I'm going to start passing out like love all over and everyone's going to be like, thank you. I accept that. Thank you. I accept that. In my thank yous, thank you, Reverend Maureen. Thank you for always having me. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Reverend Linda. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you all for being here. Love. Oh my goodness, I love this one. I love this one. How many find that it's easier to love someone else than to turn around and love ourselves? That could make me weepy. We all do that. I have a great idea. We could leave that here tonight. We could just choose to say, you know what? It's safe to love myself. It's safe to love ourselves. When I talk about love and trusting the journey, it's about expanding on your space of what does it look like to love myself so fully that I can love myself through every challenge, through every bump, through every judgment, and get right back to knowing it's okay. You know, if we believe in this universal presence, God, and we know that is love. We know, how many of you know that the universal presence, whether you call it higher power, God, universe, that it's love? How many of you know that? We could all agree it's love. And we know it moves through us. So where do we block and go, well, it can move through us, but I don't know if I'm going to love on myself. When we begin to practice acts of self-love, our love for others goes just absolutely overflowing. It's like a natural byproduct. We tend to think, oh no, I'll just give it all away and then I'll stand back here and if anybody notices, somebody might give me some love. But the truth is our love comes bubbling up as we practice all of these elements for ourselves. Acknowledgement leads to self-love. Gratitude leads to more love. Practicing faith leads to more love because you're allowing yourself and remembering that you are an important piece of this puzzle. This world would not be operating well if you were not in it. I know that. If each person that's here right now was not here, a piece of the puzzle would be missing. Everyone that's supposed to be here tonight is here. We're all here, vitally important beings that get to touch each other, you know, give each other a hug when you leave tonight. And we have to be present to each other to give love and receive it. But part of the acknowledgement level is to receive love from ourselves. Last time I was here last month, I told you all that there's a prayer that I would say lots of time, which is simply just, God is, I am. That those 4 words could get me through some challenging times if I couldn't remember the rest of a prayer because I was in the midst of something. When I'm driving down the freeway to a hospital, there was a lot of God is, I am. In that is an act of self-love because in that moment I was caring for myself and for Lila. Do you see that? Yes or no? Because anywhere that we are even uttering a prayer and we're including ourselves in it, and lots of practitioners, and I could probably say ministers if this is fair, that we tend to pray for others and lots of times go, did I pray for myself today? Because we're used to praying for others. And it's something to learn like, oh, I must begin right here. Right here. So I really invite you to expand right now on what's possible for me to love myself more fully and give of myself and then accept more. And here's the lead question you say as often as possible. What is the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? If you're stuck in a predicament, if you ask yourself, what is the most loving thing I could do for myself right now? And listen. Cultivate your listening that you will catch, whether it says to be gentle with yourself, to ask for forgiveness, to communicate more fully, to have more compassion, whatever it is, but you will hear it if you ask the question. Begin to ask questions that expands the space of receptivity for it to land on you, okay? Yes. Hold on, I have one more before I'm asking you guys to ask me some questions. Oh, let go and surrender. Who loves the word surrender? Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad some people love the word surrender. Surrender to me is a powerful word. To some people, surrender feels like we're giving up. Right? When we surrender to something, we are letting go of what we thought it was supposed to be like. When we surrender, we're surrendering parts of our judgment, our opinions, and allowing Spirit to have its way that we can see a much more expansive view. There is a reason that in the affirmative prayer that we pray that the very last step is let go. Let go and release. When we do not let go of, say, a prayer, I'm going to use that as an example, we're holding on to thinking, well, it's mine and I can control the outcome of this. Part of the very important piece of letting go is this: as we let go, we're trusting the journey, we're trusting Spirit, that there's something bigger than us that is taking place right now, and it's safe to let go. So you'll hear ministers, practitioners pray, and at the end it is, I let go of this. Because I'm not going to hold on to it and think I've got to fix it. Your let go of how you think it is supposed to be in life allows God to bring you so much more than you ever even thought possible. Ever thought possible. Because we're working from the field of what we've seen before. Let go allows us to know there's so much more, and I'm accepting that. That is why you will hear us say this or something better. This is what I'm headed for, or something better that I haven't seen yet. That is the space of let go. When you truly let go, you are building the space of trusting your journey. But it takes a practice of absolutely building faith to know it's safe for you to let go, and you will land safely. There's a statement that they say, the space of a powerful spiritual warrior is surrender, the place of surrender. Because they're letting go of anything they thought it was supposed to be and allowing something so much bigger than they ever knew possible. That if you were thinking you were going this way and you're bumping into something and it isn't happening, when you let go and truly go, okay, I'm open to see it differently. Recently, something went on in my life that I kept bumping into something, and finally I went, I got to let go. I got to let go to what I thought it was supposed to be. And the second I let go and said, okay, I'm willing. I didn't even know I was holding on. I thought I was aiming for an intention, and I had a little bit too tight of a grip. And once I thought, oh, wow, there's something else revealing itself here that I haven't caught yet. And the second I let go and said a prayer for, I'm willing right now to catch whatever it is I haven't seen. I'm willing. I'm totally willing. Then all of a sudden, things started happening everywhere that I turned around. It was like answers were rushing in the door like a flood. And I just took a breath of gratitude, like, wow, I didn't know that was possible because I was headed in one direction. Think where you've been holding on to something right now. Holding on tight, thinking this is the only way it could happen for me. Just think what's possible in a breath for you to let it go. Trust Spirit. And allow yourself to just be in that moment and stay in constant prayer to know there's more being revealed here. And I am setting myself up to catch that. Because when you don't know something, you're allowing Spirit to show it to you. Yes? So I want to go through these so you see them one more time. Let go and surrender. Oops, I got to go backwards, huh? God bless you. Love, self-love, out to love to everyone. Gratitude and acknowledgement. You got your homework on that? Everybody knows what they're doing? Great, thank you. Powerful faith, cultivating faith, and courage and curiosity. Now, I want someone to tell me, for you in this room, because whatever you need to say, somebody else needs to hear, where is there a bump in your trusting of the journey so that you could absolutely ask us right now so we can discuss it? I just want you to think for a moment. What of these 5 elements or anything else is running you into a bump on your journey? Yes?
Comparing it to past events and not trusting that.
Did you hear what she said? Comparing it to past events, like wherever you're at in the journey. Comparing this part of your journey to past events.
Same situation will happen again.
And thinking that it'll repeat itself. Like, in other words, it's too scary to move forward on this journey because this happened to me before. How many of you have felt like that? So we're taking the past with us because we have lots of evidence here, right, Lisa? We got a whole pile of evidence. It didn't work then, it's not going to work now. So in these 5 elements right now, which one do you think is going to assist you to move through that right there? Which one?
Courage.
Beautiful. And what else? That's what I was catching too, is faith. See, when we're absolutely in this present moment, we're available to more good to happen. You are not the same being today that you were when that happened to you before. We forget that. We think, well, if it happened to me before, it could happen to me again. You're not the same person. So it's not in the realm of possibility for that exact same thing to happen to you again because you have been shifted. So I just want to inspire you to think of the places within you that have grown because of that past experience. Because whatever those muscles that you grew, whether it was confidence or strength or knowing that you got through it, whatever it was, I want you to find those and bring them in to this moment and know, wait, I got more tools in my tool bag and I'm a completely different individual than I was then. This is right now, and Spirit knows me right now. And that's when you begin to have the courage and cultivate the faith to know this is where I'm headed in this moment. And there's more here that's happening than ever was before. Okay? Yes, my dear?
I think for me right now in life, the hardest part is the last one, the let go and surrender. Because, you know, you have the courage, faith, gratitude, acknowledgement, love, and that very last step, let go, comes with such, it feels like such a leap of faith into the unknown that it's almost, well, at least if I hold on to this, you know, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Let go, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah. Do you like roller coaster rides?
Nope.
Oh, darn. You don't like Indiana Jones either? So by holding on, what are you holding on to? What quality are you holding on to?
Nothing good, but it's just at least the devil you know.
So hold on, I'm going to ask you that again. What quality are you holding on to? You said it. Is it anything that honors you? So the hold on is something out of habitual pattern. Would that be right? Out of what you know, so it's known. And fear of, if I let go of this, what's really going to be there? So which of these do you think is going to be the key to assisting in that let go?
Faith, that's okay.
Faith, and the other thing I caught was acknowledgement. Because when you start really acknowledging the steps you've already taken, when we acknowledge the steps we've taken, we build the faith to know I'm really not stepping out to nothing. Are you catching this? So that's where that element of acknowledgement is so important, because as we continue to really see ourselves rightly, it's very much to what I was saying to Lisa as well. When we see ourselves rightly, we're not the same as that. So the let go isn't so scary because we're letting go of something we've outgrown. Have you outgrown what we're talking about? Yes. So there is just a patterning of we're still holding on to something that we truly know we've outgrown. Whether it's a belief, whether it's a situation in life that no longer serves us, then we've got to fly. That is that place where that caterpillar totally trusts and shakes himself silly until he grows wings, because simply on faith. Because if you really broke it down and thought, little caterpillar, you truly are going to grow wings and start flying, that caterpillar would be like, seriously, how's that going to happen? Right? Yeah, it's trying to grow those wings. Any other questions? Next question.
So I have a real issue with the word faith. I can't even wrap my head and arms around it.
What word works better for you instead of faith?
I don't know if there is one. I'm not quite sure. I mean, this is so blatantly honest of you, but
That's okay.
I'm not sure I can define it.
How about, so that's all right. So two things. One, thank you for saying that. Because the second you state, wait, I'm observing this about myself, that word doesn't work for me. It is completely possible, acceptable, doable for you to find the word that works for you. In other words, words have energy. If belief works better for you right now, powerful belief, powerful knowing.
Of what? I guess that's what it is. It's like, of what? Faith of what?
Do you believe there's one power? Do you believe that?
Yeah.
So what do you call that?
The universe.
Great. So the universe. You believe there's a power in the universe, right? So you just answered your question of what? Because if you, right?
Not yet.
But if you knew, if you're just stating, I want you just to look at this. Let's just contemplate it. If we're looking at what do I believe? Yes, that there's one power, and yes, it's the universe, that's what you name it. Do you believe that the universe has unlimited possibility?
Yes.
Great. So, and do you believe it moves through you, or is it outside of you somewhere?
I think the word faith makes it feel outside of me. So bringing that inwards is probably the issue here. It feels like I'm following something, but I'm not sure what that something is, and that it's not reachable. I get all the other words and everything you said, but when it comes to powerful faith, it leaves me feeling like I don't know what to grab onto.
Okay, good. And thank you for describing it so well. My invitation to you is just to be in the place of what is possible here. What else is it? What is it? Ask that. Ask the universe that. If it's not the word faith for you, what else is possible here? Is it powerful belief? Is it powerful knowing? Is it powerful? There's a connection that you get, that I'm hearing you connecting it to inside of you, not outside of you. So that's the bridge of being willing. So maybe this week, look at the place of I'm willing to allow the universe to move through me this day. I'm willing to catch the power of the universe moving through me this day. I'm willing to experience it moving through me this day. Is that possible? Great. And just see with that. Work with that. And this is the beauty of each individual. There are so many paths to what is your greatest good. There isn't one path that says, this is what faith looks like, this is what spirituality looks like. There's paths that we honor each of our own to know there's room for everyone. There's room for everyone. There's space to honor everyone in this beautiful universe when we know and accept that we're all operating in this one beautiful field. So that you can know that about yourself and know, great, then this is the area that I'm embodying right now. That's part of being willing to trust the journey. So thank you. Anyone else? Yes?
As usual, I'll leave here inspired. But I need to go back to the roller coaster metaphor you used.
Yes.
You said, don't open your mouth on the way down.
I said, Reverend Michael said that to me.
But it seemed to me
Like I talked too much tonight. I'm just teasing.
to be implying that don't open your mouth on the way down is don't tell anybody else about your troubles. On the way up, it's okay, but on the way down, it's not.
And great perception. I hear you. And I get to tell, I could preface it. Who knows how he meant it? I only took it where it landed on me. And for me, it was one of those moments of aha for myself, was that I had a growing edge right then, that when I was going down, that was my space to cultivate faith. Because in my going down, I was like, oh, no, this isn't working, it isn't working. Oh, it's working. God's listening. Oh, no, it isn't working. So thank you for saying that. And again, I want to invite you to hear it from, we truly don't know how he meant it, right? So we get to see where does something land and where can I honor myself and how it fits with me, and where it doesn't. And if you know, well, wait a minute, that's not honoring me to say it's not good to discuss what is going down. What I would invite us to look at is we just don't want to get stuck there. You know, in the building of trusting our journey, we get to know we move through it. We don't have to get stuck there. We could share, I'm having a challenging time right now, but I'm going to keep practicing courageous, faith and keep moving through it. Is that helpful? Oh, good. Everyone take a breath. Big, huge breath. I went overtime. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Are you guys forgive me? Okay, good. Because then I have to, if there's no more questions, I got to say a blessing for us. And I'm going to ask us to bring up our wonderful offertory basket. Yes, great. So truly, I just want to ask if in the contemplation of this, can you see what's possible to build your trust more so upon your journey? Great. Then all I ask is that you apply what fits and practice and live it in the areas that fit for you. That's my request, all right? All right, I'm going to take us to prayer, and then I'm going to we're going to pass out our wonderful tithe baskets. So know that if anything moves you tonight, we have a beautiful center here. And our center stays alive through our tithes. So please leave in the basket whatever works for you, and let me bless us, please. Oh, how grateful I am, grateful I am for this moment and every moment, to know that as we take a breath together, we are in life together, we are in joy together, that there's this beautiful, powerful, universal God that is moving through each of us in such an unlimited fashion that I just lean into it, allowing gratitude to lead the way this evening, knowing that this evening is a blessed evening, that every individual here was meant to be here, and I am grateful for their presence and their consciousness, for I trust that by being together, there's more trust, more energetic understanding of the keys that we are amplifying this evening to know that our journey is a blessed one. And that whatever it looks like in the moment, we breathe through it and accept the blessings that come with it as we just simply say yes. Yes to building trust. Yes to trusting the illuminated path before us. I simply bless these beautiful individuals on their journey and knowing that they have all they need to walk upon it. In gratitude, I bless the center, Reverend Maureen, all the ministers and practitioners, everyone that is here absolutely gifting us with their talents. I am grateful, as I simply say, and so it is.